Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today during our 2019 Remote Work Education Week. I'm Laura Spawn, CEO of Virtual Vocations, and I'm excited to be hosting this featured webinar with Qkids. They're one of our employer partners. And this event is part of our first Remote Work Education Week, like I said before, and we are really excited to provide resources and learning opportunities for those of you who are looking for remote work, especially in the education field. So this time of year, I know the focus, and especially for me personally with 3 kids, is on going back to school. My oldest is a senior this year. So we're also starting to look at all the college information as well. And there is so much information online about education with all the emphasis on it. We thought here at Virtual Vocations that it would be kind of fun and a good idea to highlight some of the educational information surrounding remote work and the tools that are available to job seekers if you are one of those who would like to work remotely. So we're pretty excited to be sharing this event this week with you, and some of the different things we'll be doing this week. We have some partnerships with some companies that are education minded, and we have some discounts on remote work-friendly products. We've got a discount from Passion Planner and Coffee and a Classic, and they provide books, coffee, and office supplies. And we also have really good blog content being released this week. We have in-depth posts on online skills training, virtual volunteering, as well as remote internship options if you need to gain some skills to improve your hireability for remote positions. We are also very excited to announce the launch of our remote work certification course, which is in partnership with Workplace Less. And the course is accredited through the Society of Human Resource Management. It takes about 10 to 20 hours to complete, and you have a full 12 months to get it done. So it's a great opportunity to enhance your remote work skills. It covers 9 different topics relating to remote work, and we are just really excited to offer it to our job seekers. And this week, it is $100 off to the first 30 people who sign up. The regular price is $299, so it has dropped down to $199 for this week. And we will also be giving away a course to one of our job seekers. So stay tuned for that. Check your emails. And we will also be having a live Q&A session on LinkedIn with our Career Services Division Manager, Holly Leva. She will be answering questions for about 30 minutes tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central. And when she's done, she'll be giving away a mid-level to executive resume package. So we've got a bunch of things going on this week to help our remote job seekers further your skills and hopefully help land that remote job you're looking for. So with that being said, let's dive in today to today's webinar with Qkids. Like I said, my name's Laura Spawn. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Virtual Vocations, and I am very happy to welcome Meredydd Cormode, the marketing manager with Qkids. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Laura. It's good to be here.
So we are going to cover everything today about Qkids. We'll be learning about the company culture, the online English teacher openings, the qualifications and job details, the recruitment process, and how to apply. So since this is a quick feature webinar, we're going to move quickly, but we're going to cover everything that you need to know. So let's get started. So Meredydd, let's hand the mic over to you, and I would love it if you would talk to us about what it's like working with Qkids and the company culture from the inside.
Okay, sure. I'll take that question for you. So as the text on the screen tells you, we were founded in 2015, so we're a relatively new company and still very much a growing company, and that feeds into the culture of the business, both on the teacher side and on the staff side. As an online remote working company, we're very flexible, very relaxed in our approach to scheduling, how people can kind of interact with us. Everyone has their own coach that they can contact, multiple points of contact within the business to raise issues, concerns, challenges. So we've got a really strong support network, And then the community itself, we have very strong active communities on things like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, where people are sharing ideas, tips and advice with each other, problem solving. So even though you are working from a desk at home and maybe not actually physically seeing your colleagues, there is very much a community feel.
Wonderful. So those online community forums, are those just teachers that reach out to each other and connect, or does Qkids have kind of a behind the scenes community area?
So we have several groups. We have our main Qkids page, which obviously supports information we're pushing out about our company, so people can stay up to date with that. But within that page, there are, I think, up to 5 groups, with the most active being extremely active and having all of the teachers interacting on there. It is, I would say, about 90% teacher driven. We rarely interject with anything that's going on in that group, so it's very much a teacher community space.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. I mean, remote working environments, of course, I'm definitely a fan of. So it sounds like Qkids has all of that going on for them. So let's go ahead and move on and take a look at the details about the remote job openings for the online English teachers. It's my understanding that Qkids contracts with US-based and Canadian-based only. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct. So they need to be citizens of the US or Canada and currently residing in the US and Canada for their teaching. Once you're an established teacher, we can be a bit more flexible. If you're going to go on a family holiday, but you still want to pick up some classes, we can normally accommodate that. But 9 times out of 10, we'll say you have to be based in either the US or Canada, and that avoids us getting any of the sort of traveling workers.
Right, the digital nomads.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. And we have the qualifications and job details listed here, but I'd love to hear a little bit more from you about them in particular.
Sure, absolutely. So a bachelor's degree is now required. That's a recent update for us. So it can be in anything. We're not specifying teaching or TESOL focused degrees, but a degree is now required at the BA level. We now look for a teaching certificate to go on that. So typically a TEFL, TEFL, which is Teach English as a Foreign Language. There are other acronyms like TESOL, but any of those will typically give you somewhere between a 50 to 120 hour online course that you can do. They're very, very quick to get certified on. And once you have that with us in terms of your own personal qualifications, you're ready to go. On the technical side, you do need to have a computer that can support our platform. So generally anything after about 2012 should be fine. But when we talk about the interview process, I'll talk about how our team decide if your system is good enough and what steps they take either way.
Okay. And the minimum time commitment, is that still correct as far as 6 hours? I guess that kind of looks like 12 classes a week.
That's it exactly, Laura. It's 12 classes. Each class is 30 minutes. That's the minimum. And as long as you hit or exceed that, you're eligible for the attendance bonus that comes with the pay. Minimum is 6 hours.
And then so it looks like, there are 30 time slots available. What are the time frames? Sort of, can teachers book classes back to back for several hours, or is it better to spread them out over the week? How does that look when teachers, I guess, are picking their time slots?
Sure. No, it's a good question. We leave everything to the teachers largely. So you can very easily do back-to-back classes. And during our busy times, during summer, we actually do increase the amount of teaching hours we have. And we have some teachers who work every hour of every day that is available. Typically, our classes run with a 10-minute gap between each class. So let's say at an Eastern Standard Time, you taught the 7:20 a.m. class. That would be over at 7:50. The next class, if you were booked into the next time slot, wouldn't start till 8 o'clock. So you've got enough time to write up your summaries, sort of move on to the next lesson, remind yourself of any of the class content you need to, all before starting class.
Okay. And then can you explain a little about the pay rate and the bonus structure?
So the way our pay works is we pay a base of $8 per class, so $16 per hour. And then each class, you are eligible for 2 bonuses within each 30-minute class. The first is the attendance bonus that we mentioned for being committed to over 6 hours a week. And the second is a performance bonus. At the end of each class, students will rate the teacher, give them feedback, and as long as the teachers achieve an average rating of 4.5, they will be eligible for that performance bonus as well. So that's $2 extra per class or $4 extra an hour, which will give you a range of $16 to $20 an hour.
Okay, that's great. That's some great pay for working completely from home and teaching like that. So, am I correct in assuming that there are always at least the 6 hours per week available of class time? Does Qkids ever overstaff just in case teachers are out, or is it guaranteed once you're contracted that you will always have at least those 6 hours or 12 classes?
I never want to use the word guarantee because this side of the business is dependent on the student numbers side of the business. But so far as a company, yes, absolutely, the 6 hours is generally hit for all teachers who request that or more. During our slower seasons, you may have to open more time slots to allow yourself to get the minimum or more classes, as many as you can get, because we won't be running a full schedule if there aren't the students. But it's also backed up by the fact that we have a standby system where we will allocate one teacher to teach the class, but there will be several teachers who are allocated as standby, which means should a teacher within a short period of time say, I'm not available to teach this class anymore, what will happen is that class can automatically be passed over to one of the standby teachers. So you can put yourself down for classes and you might see that you're only teaching 5 hours of classes that are scheduled in your diary, but you do have maybe 3 or 4 standbys, and that will take you over the 6 hours, for example.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. So then let's go on and move right into the recruitment process. We've gotten this far, people interested in applying, and they head to the Qkids website. What happens at that point? Is it completely, an online application system? Can you walk us through the recruitment process? This part is always a little bit frustrating for the job seekers because they don't have that internal view, how the company processes and selects people, moves them through the process. So it would be wonderful to get an insider view into that process.
Yeah, I agree. The application process can be very frustrating when you don't have transparency on what stages you're going to be passing through. Our starters is absolutely with our website, online contact as an online business. So you'll go to our website, teacher@qkids.net, and fill in your basic information. You'll sign in, create an account, and fill in your basic information, which just contains name, location, degree, teaching certificates if you have any. And then you are given the option at this stage to upload a short introduction video of yourself, 1 to 2 minutes, and also your PC specifications. But if you don't have those to hand at the time when you apply, our hiring staff will follow up with you again, regardless, via email to gather those materials later.
Okay.
Second stage is all of those materials will be reviewed. So if you did submit your video and your PC spec, our hiring team will review those, match the PC spec with our platform requirements, and check the teaching video to make sure that you would be suitable for teaching our demographic, very young children. If that's the case, they will then invite you to the first demo interview. So that's demo interview 1. That will take place with some of our hiring staff. It's generally a relatively relaxed 20 minutes where they just ask you to demonstrate that you can interact with the platform, show good kind of at least fundamentals of how to teach and approach language for very young learners of another language. And then if that goes well, they will then pass you on to a demo interview 2, which they will help you arrange. Demo interview 2, this is the much more rigorous interview of all of them. This one of our coaches, who, if you pass, will become your permanent coach at Qkids, helping you develop as an online teacher. But their first role when they interact with you is actually to act as a student, and you will teach an entire class for them. So you will go through all of the slides with them acting as if they were a low-level English speaker and a young child. So that's can be quite intense, particularly if you've never taught online. But they're very friendly about it, and they will stop every so often if needed to and interject, give advice. And we're not looking for the perfect teaching experience. What we're looking for is someone who has the right attitude towards it, shows aptitude on our platform, can use the various tools to make the most of the language learning experience, because we can train everything else. We have coaches whose job is just to improve your skill set.
Okay.
So that's the interview period. If you pass that, what happens then is you actually move on to a series of trial classes. Now, these are paid. So you'll do 2 to 5 trial classes with live students, collecting live feedback from students and parents. And that will be reviewed. And between the 2nd and the 5th class, a decision will be made on whether or not you are going to be suitable for this position. Hopefully that goes well, in which case we send out a background check and send you a contract, which is a 6-month contract. So it can be quite a lengthy process. We are quite rigorous because we do want to keep our teacher community relatively small and tight-knit. So you do have to jump through a few more hoops to sort of get into the inner circle, as it were.
Right. I mean, that is rigorous, but I would say it's definitely warranted, the type of industry, and especially interacting with children. So along those lines, I guess you mentioned that they are young children. Is it K through 12 grade children or to 18, I guess, or is your demographic really very young children?
We have very young learners, so they can start anywhere from, I believe our youngest are about 2 or 3 up until 12. So that's the age range we deal with, but they're actually split by level, not by age. So within each individual class, you may have some age variations, but the levels should be all relatively close to each other.
Okay. And you mentioned that the full process can take 2 weeks to a month. Would you say, 2 weeks is the fastest, and would the average be somewhere in the middle or closer to the month to complete?
I think for the average, some close to the middle is, as long as the applicant is receptive to our emails and acts quickly on each step, whether it be invitation to an interview or completing the background check, for example. As long as all of those things happen quite promptly, then yes, contracts can be issued within 2 to 3 weeks. But we do understand that real life happens. A lot of our teachers are, like yourself, stay-at-home mums, so they have other commitments going on, so they might not always be able to put our application process as their number one priority, which we understand. So there is a bit of leeway there. And some people will eventually make the hiring process, but it could take a month. Right.
All right. Well, we have covered a lot here, and I am so grateful for your time spent coming and explaining all of this for our job seekers. I think this information is going to hopefully alleviate a lot of their questions, their frustrations as they move through different processes, and it's especially exciting. It's a great opportunity, it sounds like, especially for those who are interested in their career field, maybe education, but like you said, they may be stay-at-home moms or even dads, but still, want to continue with their teaching. So this is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much for your time explaining this. Do you have any other comments to add that you think would be particularly helpful to our job seekers looking for these types of positions?
Sure. I think the last thing I would add is that a lot of the questions we get initially from applicants is, how much do they have to know about teaching in advance before they come into this? Now, with Qkids, our platform is a fully gamified English learning platform. So rather than sitting at home writing notes, preparing your class, you'll just go onto our platform, check out whatever games, animations, and slides that are going to happen already pre-planned for you. and then you can go into the class and teach those. So no prior preparation, no lesson planning. You just have to just give yourself a few minutes beforehand, just run through the slides, get familiar with them, and then you're good to go. Because I think that daunts a lot of teachers or potential teachers, is not knowing if they're going to be sort of suitable for planning material.
Right.
It's not a skill set everyone has.
Right. Okay. And that kind of leads in to our next portion of the webinar. We do have a sort of Q&A session. This is a pre-recorded webinar, but if you are watching it now, you can definitely put your questions in the comments area below the video, and we will absolutely get back to you, even if this is a week or a month after we have released this webinar. But at this point, we kind of want to pull some of the more common questions and get those answered right now. And then, like I said, we will definitely answer any other ones if you have them and post them in the comments area. So kind of touching on what we've already talked about, do you have any tips maybe on what type of demo interview that our job seekers could send in that might, I guess, get them ahead or be something that the recruiters are really looking for?
Sure. So for their introduction video, I would break it into two parts. The first part, introduce yourself. A little bit about yourself, your background, why it is you're looking for this position. And the second part, demonstrate potentially with reading a short extract from a children's book or something to show how you would interact with children over the platform. And you can teach a couple of words, read a bit of a short story, something that gives a taste of your teaching style and your personality as well when interacting with children. If a video contains those two things, then our hiring staff are normally pretty content and will pass you on into an interview.
So then how many students are in most of the classes? Is there a limit or on either end, the minimum and maximum?
Yeah, so our class sizes are 1 to 4 students. So generally the maximum slots will be 4 and they'll normally be filled. But during the quieter periods, you may find yourself with just 1 or 2 students if a few don't turn up or the class is underbooked. All
right. And then you touched on that it is now required that all teachers have a bachelor's degree. Have you seen, other than those that have bachelor's degree in teaching or education related subjects, have you found any that are surprising that they're a good fit for this teaching, but their bachelor's degree is definitely not related? Have you found any correlation?
We have people with every kind of bachelor's degree you could imagine in every area of study. It's very surprising to look through the list. Lots of them might be considered unusual. We have people who studied, architecture, for example, maths, all sorts of things where, you wouldn't necessarily see the immediate language lean in. But for us, the degree is to show a certain level of education rather than to focus on exactly what that education was.
Right. Okay. Well, that's nice to hear. It opens it up for a lot more people, probably makes them feel more comfortable that they can also apply for a position like this. All right, those are all the questions that we have the time to cover, so we're going to wrap up. So if you want to learn more about Qkids and apply to the online English teacher position, go to teachers@qkids.net, or you can visit their company profile page on the Virtual Vocations website. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today during our 2019 Remote Work Education Week. Thank you to Meredydd with Qkids for taking time and to provide all of this great information on this opportunity for those who are looking to work remotely. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Laura.